What's up everyone, this is Tranquil Toys. Today I'm taking a look at the new Mcfarlane DC Multiverse Sinestro figure. This is from the recent collector edition wave. And there was 3 figures in that wave. There was Sinestro, of course, Hawkman, and Firestorm. Firestorm did look pretty cool, and I saw some pictures of him, of some people that had him in hand. He does look pretty cool, but I don't really think that he's necessary for my collection. So I didn't buy Firestorm. I did buy Hawkman. It's kind of unfortunate that he's not in his classic comic colors. I'm hoping they re-release the figure with the more classic colors. That would be really cool. Sinestro, we got Sinestro here. And this is a pretty cool figure. I mean, right away, it looks good. It looks like Sinestro. Everything there that's integral to the Sinestro design. The box is also pretty cool. You just get the same picture that's on the card right here. That's on the back of the box. That same picture. I know they've had a few collector edition waves already, and I'm not really sure why, like what makes this collector edition, just because it comes with a card and a plastic holder for the card. I think a lot of people think the same way, that this thing is pretty much useless. Like, I'm not going to display it like this. Like, the cards were pretty dumb in the first place. Some of them are kind of cool when they have good art from a comic that's actually good. Most of the time it's just not worth having. This one is pretty cool looking, I guess. The card holder is really unnecessary, and it's unnecessarily adding to the cost of the figure, in my opinion. I would have liked to have more hands. There's no alternate hands. There's only 2 effects. And then, of course, you get the stand. The stand is pretty useful. They're pretty versatile. You can use them with a lot of different brands. So I do appreciate these stands, even though I know some people do get tired of them. So I'm just going to get into the figure. I'll take his accessories off. I'll take a closer look at the detail. So the head sculpt is really good in my opinion. I think it looks like the character. Maybe it's not like a certain Sinestro from a certain comic book run, but it does look like Sinestro. Like, if you showed this to maybe a casual comic fan, they'll know that it's Sinestro. Like, it looks like Sinestro. I don't know if this goes for all the Sinestro figures, but on mine, there's a little bit of pink that you can see through the black paint. So I guess they didn't cover that completely. So there's a little bit of his skin tone showing through. Almost looks like he's losing hair up there. Then he does have texture detail throughout the entire suit. Even the shoulder caps here. It's not really a butterfly joint, it's just like a cap to hide the dumbbell joint in between the shoulder and the body. The gauntlets are just a smooth plastic. Also, the yellow here is not really yellow. It's more on the gold side, which is okay, but I think I would have preferred a more yellow, like a more comic booky yellow than the gold paint. And the silver paint is nicely applied, doesn't go off the sculpt, or the silver doesn't bleed onto the black. The front of the knee joints also have that texture detail, and then you get the boots. The ankle joint is a different shade of yellow than the gold that's for the rest of the boot. So it does kind of stick out, and I would have preferred if it looked more like this. If the entire figure looked more like this instead of that gold. But I think overall, the figure has a very good presentation. The pink skin tone really stands out. And like I mentioned before, he only comes with 2 hands, a fist hand with his ring. It's not too detailed, but it does look okay. The other hand that he comes with is oddly sculpted. I don't know why they went with this sort of pose. It looks like he's doing like the devil horns or the heavy metal hands or whatever you want to call it. And then it's almost like a trigger finger hand as well. But he doesn't come with any guns. He does come with his yellow lantern that he can hold, but it's not a very good pose for holding really anything other than a gun or something. And the yellow lantern emblem in the center here is also nicely painted. There's no problems there. There's no smudges or scuffs, so that's really good that they were able to maintain a decent quality throughout the entire figure. The proportioning is decent. I don't know if I'm just getting used to the Mcfarlane style of proportioning the legs and, the arms and the body. And I can't really tell if they're making any changes, but I do like the way this figure looks. I think it looks maybe a little bit better than some other figures. I'm not really sure if there's any reuse other than the boots here. I believe these are the same boots that the Flash came with. But other than that, I'm not sure what else is reused. But I don't collect enough to be able to tell what's reused and what's not. So if you guys know in the comments, you can let me know. But now we'll get into the articulation. So the head, dumbbell joint. He looks up that far, which is pretty good. You can get good flight poses. And then he looks down a little bit, not a whole lot. Then you do get some tilt, which is pretty good. And then rotation, of course, which is fine. Then on the shoulder joints, again, you got that dumbbell joint going through there and the cap to cover it. And this is not really a good joint setup. It looks fine, but it doesn't really allow for a good range of motion. Like, it doesn't move back and forth that much. And you can also shift the shoulder up and down, forward and back, and you can move it all around, almost like a realistic shoulder joint, but it's just pretty limited. You can take the arms off, take the shoulder cap off, and you can put the arm back in, and you can get a bit more range, but it's really gappy in there. Then bicep swivel works as you'd expect. I don't have any problems with that. The double elbows are pretty good on both sides, no problems there. I know sometimes there are some problems with the bicep swivel and the elbow joints, but there's no problem this time around. And then you got the hinge and swivel on the wrist, which work fine. Again, no alternate hands, which is pretty unfortunate. And the upper torso joint, pretty limited in range. That's pretty much how it goes for most Mcfarlane figures. There's not any amount moving forward. There's just a tiny bit moving back, pretty much nothing. So it's pretty much useless. And the lower joint, you get not a whole lot moving forward, barely any. You do get more moving back. That's where you're going to get most of the range. So together, okay, so that also happens, I guess, if you push it too far. Okay, so I guess now the upper torso joint is moving a lot better than it was a minute ago. So it does move a little bit better now. And that's going to help with flight poses and looking down and things like that. So I guess it's a little bit better than it was before, but it's still not as good as it could be. And then you also get leaning from side to side, which is pretty good. And that allows you to do more nuanced poses. Now the legs are pretty disappointing. They go up, but they kick out because of the diaper piece. So it's not really the best looking kick. It is sort of functional, but it's really not that great. And there is rotation at the thigh there. It doesn't go like a full 360, but it does give you a little bit, and that's useful in some poses. Then the knees, no problem with the knees. No boot swivel, but you do get a swivel down here at the ankle joint, and then also a hinge up and down. It is a pretty ugly joint, and like I pointed out before, the yellow doesn't match up. You can also move the foot around so you can break his ankle toe joint, which is really small and it's pretty much useless. So that's another thing that I think hurts Mcfarlane figures. So overall, the articulation is fine. I mean, you can do pretty much the same things you can do with the other Mcfarlane figures. So if you have a Mcfarlane figure already, you know what to expect. Nothing new going on here. Then for his accessories, he comes with his yellow lantern, which is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty much how you'd expect it to be. It doesn't have any articulation, like you can't swivel the handle or anything. And it's just a see-through plastic. And then he does come with a chain accessory with claws at the end of it. So this is kind of like a chain with spikes on it. And there's like some Doc Ock claws at the end of it. And it just looks kind of weird when it's on his arm. I think it's supposed to go on like this, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, I would have wanted a different effect. I don't think this effect had to be included with this figure. Like, I don't think this is something that he was famous for. So I'm not sure why they had to include this specific effect with him. And then here's his yellow lantern. Like I said, he holds it sort of loose. It's not the best grip because the hand is sculpted oddly. But he does hold it and it does stay there. So it's not too bad. So overall, not a bad figure, but now let's get into the fun part where we do some swaps and comparisons. So first of all, here's the reason why I picked up this figure for my Legion of Doom display, and I only have two figures so far, Black Manta and Sinestro, so they're going to go in my Legion of Doom display, and they look pretty cool together. I think it's going to be really awesome having more of the Legion of Doom, and you can see the height difference between them. It's not that big of a difference, but Black Manta is a little bit taller than Sinestro. And here he is next to the Hal Jordan Green Lantern. I'm really hoping they redo this figure because he's got those really long arms which look really bad. And I don't like all the sculpted marks in the suit here. I want a more traditional looking Green Lantern. So I'm really hoping they do another one. Then it is possible to swap the heads. So you can have a Sinestro as a Green Lantern That doesn't look too bad. Hal Jordan as a Yellow Lantern. That doesn't look that cool. Here he is next to another guy with red skin. That's the Red Skull. Obviously he's shorter. This is a Marvel Legends figure. Then we'll see what a head swap looks like. I don't think it's going to look that great. And there's what that looks like. So Red Skull as a Yellow Lantern, or I guess it could just be a random Yellow Lantern. Here's Master Roshi as a Yellow Lantern. That's kind of cool. Here's the Marvel Legends Dormammu head on the Sinestro body. So there's another idea for a Yellow Lantern. That looks pretty cool. Here he is next to Game Dimensions Heihachi from Bandai. And here he is next to the Flash. He's a little bit taller than the Flash. I have no idea what happened to the end of the video. I know I had it recorded. For some reason it doesn't show up on the video file, so I guess it just doesn't exist. So I'm just redoing the ending here. And basically, I already said everything that I wanted to say about the figure. It's a decent figure. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing this figure re-released in the blue color scheme. The older Sinestro design before he was yellow. Anyways, it's a good figure. Has the same flaws that a lot of other McFarlane figures have. No surprises there. Nothing new being done or nothing new being added to the McFarlane formula. Nothing really special about the figure. But like I said, it's a much needed figure for the collection. If you're a fan of DC, Justice League, whatever. I would like to see more Justice League villains. You know, like I said, I'm building my Legion of Doom, so classic Lex Luthor, classic Captain Cold, and, you know, other guys like that. And yeah, so that's all I got to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.